Are your people working hard but not reaching their full potential? The problem is not effort, it is development. At the Modern Observer Group, we transform workforce development into real performance. Our human-centered achievement programs help your team think better, communicate stronger, and execute at a higher level. That means higher employee engagement, stronger leadership, and measurable results across your organization. If you want a workforce that performs, leads, and delivers, it is time to invest in your people. Visit modernobserver.com and discover how the Modern Observer Group helps you build a workforce that wins.
Barron Trump targeted by Iran. The Supreme Court restricts mail-in ballots. Immigrant store owners fight back against Mayor Mamdani, and more. Welcome to The Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. The U.S. launched its financial offensive against Iran Monday, rolling out a wave of sanctions and warning every country still doing business with Tehran that it could be next. Iran vowed to retaliate. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent dubbed it Operation Economic Outcast. More than 60 entities were hit Monday with new authority to target dealings in digital assets, gold, tech, aviation, and shipping. The clock just started ticking, he told reporters. President Trump is personally phoning world leaders with demands to cut Tehran off, and Bessent teased a major announcement involving a financial institution by week's end. The United Arab Emirates has already halted all trade. The goal is to force Tehran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and end the 6-month war. Bessent calls it the single greatest financial offensive ever marshaled against an adversary. Iranian state media broadcast a chilling 3-minute video about killing Barron Trump in a disturbing escalation against President Trump and his family, as Tehran braces for an onslaught of additional crushing economic penalties. The clip, titled "Where to Kill Barron Trump," claimed to show the movements of President Trump's 20-year-old son, claiming he is fully monitored, and showing depictions of the dorms at New York University's Constance Milstein and Family Global Academic Center, according to a translation of the video by Euronews. The Supreme Court on Monday cleared the way for President Trump to move ahead with his executive order restricting mail-in voting before November's midterms. The 3 liberal justices dissented from the unsigned order. The March order, which Trump casts as a safeguard against fraud and non-citizen voting, directs the government to build lists of eligible voters and bars the U.S. Postal Service from delivering mail ballots to anyone not on them. The agency published its rule for carrying that out last week. After Trump signed the order in the spring, Democrats in 23 states and D.C. sued, arguing the Constitution gives states and Congress power over elections. A Massachusetts judge blocked the order nationwide, and 12 Republican-led states backed the administration's appeal. Now it's a race against the calendar. Some states start mailing ballots within weeks, and the Postal Service itself said in July it was running out of time to make the changes. About 30% of all 2024 ballots were cast by mail. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and President Donald Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner met in recent weeks and spoke about possible issues of common ground, according to reports, landing the top House Democrat in hot water with some on the political left who have taken issue with the reported get-together. The men talked about housing, immigration, and high living costs as possible categories of common ground, the New York Times reported. Kushner, the husband of Trump's daughter Ivanka, suggested that the lawmaker should meet with White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles. 2 individuals with knowledge of the meetup noted, according to the outlet. New York immigrant grocers and bodegas sued Mayor Zohran Mamdani over his plan to open 5 government-owned supermarkets likening his plans to the devastating competitive threat that would be posed by Walmart coming to New York City. The Multicultural Business Coalition, which is comprised of 50 chambers of commerce representing ethnically diverse businesses, filed 2 lawsuits in New York State Court on Monday. One of them, a 7-page class action on behalf of hundreds of store owners who are members of groups historically discriminated against. The class action alleges the business owners' civil rights will be violated if the municipal stores are allowed to open, according to the court papers. The second suit, a 13-page filing in New York State Supreme Court, claims that the government-owned stores would present problems similar to those posed by Walmart, which has attempted several times to enter the Big Apple without success. The Trump administration proposed making a $103,265 fee permanent for many new H-1B visas used by U.S. employers to hire skilled foreign workers. The Department of Homeland Security posted the proposed regulation Monday, with formal publication scheduled for Tuesday. A federal judge blocked a similar $100,000 fee in June, and the administration has appealed that ruling. The H-1B program provides 65,000 visas annually, plus 20,000 additional visas for workers with advanced U.S. degrees. Before the temporary fee increase, typical costs ranged from about $2,000 to $5,000. The proposal would exempt some groups, including most colleges, universities, and nonprofit hospitals affiliated with academic institutions. The administration states that revenue would support the legal immigration system, including immigration courts and immigrations and customs enforcement. Nevada filed a federal lawsuit Monday challenging a U.S. plan that requires Nevada, Arizona, and California to reduce their use of Colorado River water. The case is the first legal challenge to the federal drought management plan finalized Friday. Nevada, the Colorado River Commission of Nevada, and the Southern Nevada Water Authority filed the complaint in U.S. District Court. The state alleges that the Interior Department violated federal law and failed to account for economic and public safety effects. The plan requires the 3 lower basin states to reduce water use by roughly 20% over the next 2 years, and allows deeper cuts later if reservoir levels continue falling. Nevada officials contend future reductions could reach 71% of the state's annual allocation. The Colorado River supplies about 90% of the water used in the Las Vegas area. In Alaska, Dan Sullivan has endorsed Dan Sullivan against Dan Sullivan. Last week, former Anchorage Mayor Dan A. Sullivan backed incumbent GOP Senator Dan S. Sullivan over retired teacher Dan J. Sullivan, whom Republicans accuse of being a Democratic plant to confuse voters. The primary winner will face Democrat Mary Peltola in November in a toss-up race that could decide Senate control. That's the Raw Naked Truth for August 25th, 2026. Remember to like and subscribe to the Raw Naked Truth wherever you listen to podcasts. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth Daily News Brief, as well as our sister podcast, Carnivore Radio, with news analysis and commentary, and the rest of the Xvadio Podcast Network at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcast app, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.